Well, 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 do you know Stephanie-KUSIE? She flips out. She points the finger. Let's check.
Speaker, what's funny is that the worse the scandal, the quieter the House Leader speaks.
Yes.
After 9 years, we have another scam in the Arrive scam scandal. We have 3 new cases of fraudulent billing that has been sent to the RCMP. Madam Speaker, this is now a total of 7 cases that have been sent to the RCMP of fraudulent billing. Canadian taxpayers have been scammed a total of $5 million in this Arrive scam scandal, fraudulent billing. So why is this government always intent on giving money to fraudsters and scamsters while Canadians are lined up at food banks?
The government in the House of Commons.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this issue has been dealt with by the Ethics Commissioner, who has cleared that member on 3 occasions. When it comes to his former business partner, we agree with this House. He should have been clear and answered those questions, and now he will face those consequences. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The next speaker who is being recognized by the Speaker, the member from Calgary-Mindapore.
Damning new information revealed today shows that Arrive Can contractors submitted receipts to the government for a company that doesn't even exist. Wow. This investigation already includes allegations of identity theft, forged resumes, contractual theft, fraudulent billing, price fixing, and collusion in the creation of the $54 million Arrive Can app. How much worse can this boondoggle get? Simple question, which Liberal insiders got rich?
Who got rich?
Did she say boondoggle? Hey gang, what's up? Aaron right here, Canadian Looney. Stephanie-KUSIE, the MP from Calgary-Mindapore, is a wild cowgirl. Can she keep up that energy amongst other Liberal corrupt ministers, these trashy Liberal insiders? Yes, she can. She's wild in committee too, man. She doesn't stop. She points the finger, doesn't let these crooked Liberals off the hook. We've got lots of clips of Stephanie to watch. She's one of my favorites. She'll be one of yours too. Let's take a peek at Stephanie-KUSIE. This is a woman on fire. She's a firecracker, guys. We're gonna watch a bunch of Stephanie-KUSIE in this video. Check her out. One to watch. Everyone has an opinion about Canadian federal politics.
Oh, yeah.
The floor is yours, Mrs. KUSIE.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you to our witnesses for being here today. Imagine this. You are a public servant. You are someone who has made the decision to come and help your country. I made this decision. I personally made this decision as a member of the Canadian Foreign Service. You swear that you will act in your best capacity possible for the best interest of this country. Now imagine that the worst situation for your nation occurs since wartime, a pandemic, and you are forced to make the best decisions possible that you can in your position for your nation with the information that you have. You do your best, you navigate the system, but things go wrong. The application that you are working on ends up to be a $54 million boondoggle, a stain on the government, which is already neck deep in boondoggles. Another instance of possibly unethical behavior by this government, and certainly incompetent behavior by this government, and a definite lack of oversight. But you tried your best because you were a public servant. The stress of the investigation of this $54 million boondoggle gets to you. So you go on medical leave and you think things can't possibly get worse. But they do get worse, and they got worse for Cameron McDonald, who was a director general at CBSA, and Antonio Utano, who was an ADM at the Canada Border Services Agency. Things got worse for them after coming here, giving what they believed was truthful testimony, their heartfelt testimony, to speak truth to power, to speak truth to Canadians, when they were suspended. But not only suspended without pay. And for what reason? They claimed that they were misled by senior CBSA officials. They were intimidated, that this was retaliation, that this was an attempt to muzzle them, that this was the CBSA's opportunity to use them as a scapegoat There were no allegations, no details, no evidence. What they did receive were threats that decisions would be made if they were not compliant. So, Ms. O'Gorman, I'm here to ask you today, on behalf of Mr. McDonald, on behalf of Mr. Utano, on behalf of public servants everywhere, on behalf of Canadians, why were Mr. McDonald and Mr. Utano suspended without pay?
CBSA is conducting an internal investigation. Neither of those individuals work
Ms.
for the
O'Gorman,
CBSA right now.
Believe anything that you say today, these canned speaking notes, when both Mr. McDonald and Mr. Utano have stated that they were misled by senior CBSA officials as to who even chose ArriveCAN. This committee has found you not having spoken the truth before to this committee before. There's no reason we should believe this. Can you tell the committee then, what evidence do you have of Mr. McDonald and Mr. Utano for their suspension? Can you share with that, please? What evidence do you have for this committee?
I'm not using speaking points, and I don't believe I've been informed of not having told the truth to this committee. I did not take those actions. They don't work for me.
Well, we would like to know what evidence you had. That was my question. As well, their legal fees were being paid until this point of their suspension, and now they're no longer being paid. Why did you suspend paying their legal fees?
So the preliminary statements of fact were provided to their deputy heads, and I took decisions that were consistent, that are consistent with the Treasury Board policy on legal fees.
Yeah, this information isn't providing any new information to us, Ms. O'Gorman. Is this the type of treatment that CBSA whistleblowers can expect in the future? Is this the type of treatment that public servants can expect in the future? The CBSA was also made to know of threats against Mr. McDonald by Mr. Doan. What steps, then, can you tell us, did you take to protect Mr. McDonald from facing negative reprisals from higher-ups, please?
I heard that testimony here. There are processes and systems in place when somebody believes they've been subject to harassment. I'm trying to conclude an investigation. My interest is understanding what happened. I don't understand.
To speak the truth to people here today. Just tell Canadians, why were they suspended without pay? Share that with everyone.
I did not take that action, and it's not for me to talk about. Their deputy heads took that action.
There are accusations that the public safety minister at the time was wanting someone's head on a plate. How involved was that current minister in the building of ArriveCAN, and how involved was that minister's office in covering up the misconduct connected to the development of the ArriveCAN app?
Comments occurred after I retired.
I can speak. I can speak to that.
Please go ahead, Ms. Overman.
The Minister of Public Safety was informed by me that we were launching an investigation. He expressed concern over the nature of the allegations, and he indicated that he expected me to deal with any gaps that they showed and to go forward with the investigation and to let him know if there were any pertinent information that he should be aware of. He never said that he was looking for anybody's head on a platter.
Well, we were also advised,
I apologize. That is our time, Mrs. KUSIE. Ms.
Everyone has an opinion about Canadian federal politics.
Oh, yeah.
There's a great deal of hostility between Minister Anand and MP Stephanie KUSIE. Watch this.
You have the floor for 6 minutes, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and thank you very much, Minister, for being with us here today. Yesterday we had a historic day in Canada where we had an incident that occurred, which has not occurred in over 100 years, whereby a private citizen was called to the bar of the House of Commons and was reprimanded for not responding to questions that were asked of him. Now, of course, I'm referring to Christian Firth, one member of the two-person company, GC Strategies, who were responsible, who were the main vendors in the ArriveCAN scandal. A $60 million app, a minimum of $60 million was spent on the ArriveCAN app. In fact, There are, of course, individuals who state they could have made this app for $80,000. But the person I'm referring here today, Christian Firth, he and GC Strategies made $19 million as far as it is known currently off of the Arrive Can app. Now, my colleague in the first round of questioning to Mr. Firth asked Mr. Firth directly if the Government of Canada, at a time where there is a $52.9 billion deficit and Canadians are struggling, if the Government of Canada had asked Mr. Firth and GC Strategies to repay these funds to Canadian. And his response was no. So I'm asking you, please, Minister Anand, have you asked GC Strategies and Christian Firth for this money back for Canadians from the Arrive Can app and from GC Strategies? Have you asked for this money back, Minister?
The Government of Canada takes allegations of wrongdoing and fraudulent activity extremely seriously. Minister LeBlanc, the minister in charge of the CBSA, specifically mentioned in the House today that there's an ongoing RCMP investigation.
Minister, have
and
you
that we
asked for the money
intend to
back?
Recoup all funds
Have you
of
asked
the
for the money
Canadian
back, Minister,
taxpayer
please? Is that
once
a yes or no?
that investigation is concluded.
Are you going to ask for the money back, Minister, for Canadians?
Again, I will say that departments are expected to record a receivable in their accounts and to pursue timely and cost-effective
Minister,
collection
it's expected when we have a
actions for debts
$52.9
owed
billion
to the Crown,
deficit,
and that may include
continuous
overpayments.
deficits for 9 years, that you will ask for this money back on behalf of Canadians.
As I
Canadians
said,
are
the
counting on you
departments
to
are
do this.
recording receivables in their accounts, and that may include overpayments.
Minister, I'm going to
and
move on to the
erroneous
next
payments.
piece, since it appears you're not willing to ask for this money back on behalf of Canadians.
That's
I
not
will
true,
move on.
actually. I just
You're not giving me a
said-
yes or no, Minister.
I actually just said that they're recorded as monies owed
Okay,
if
then,
wrongfully
so
collected.
But have you contacted GC
So
Strategies,
I
Christian
also
Firth?
specified that the RCMP investigation is ongoing and that they are recorded as amounts to be recovered.
So
once
you are
that
pledging here today to
investigation
get that money back
is
for
underway.
Canadians?
Yes, we will.
Okay, I look forward to that report in the future. And should Mr. Firth ever come back to the House of Commons, I expect him to say that this
We
money
will
has
always
been asked from
safeguard
Canadians.
taxpayer dollars.
I look
That's
forward
what we
to that,
do at
Minister,
Treasury
as
Board
do
and the Government
Canadians.
of Canada.
Thank you. Now, as well, yesterday, Minister, we heard testimony from the same individual, Christian Firth, that he regularly met with Paul Gerard, the former CIO of the Treasury Board, outside of the office to discuss the health of his contracts. Are you concerned a top official in your department would regularly discuss contracts outside of your office? Outside of the office?
So I can take this, Minister. As normal practice and part of responsibilities of contracting with Government of Canada, public servant may meet with vendors community to discuss ongoing contracts and other subject matter items related to those contracts. Mr. Girard left the Government of Canada in December 2022. I'm committed to do more research and get back to you in writing, get back to the committee members, Mr. Chair, in writing on what we find out about those meetings as stated by Mr. Firth.
Given the outcomes, I definitely would show concern over these discussions outside of the office. Now, Minister, you were just indicating that you were taking steps to eliminate conflict of interest, yet I'm looking here at a report from last year, 2023-2024, whereby out of the 162 public servants that declared a conflict of interest, 38% of them were actually determined to be in a conflict of interest, which is an increase of 2% from the 36% before. So I'd like to ask you then, Minister, what is the value of the contracts of those 38% of public servants that were found to be in a conflict of interest?
I will start by saying that the rule is that you must disclose all conflicts of interest, any real or perceived conflict.
Indeed, and 38% were found to be in a real conflict of interest. So what is the value of those contracts of the employees who were found to be in a contract of interest? What are Canadians on the hook for the double dipping of these individuals?
Well, first and foremost, anybody that is not complied with the requirements in the directive will be subject to disciplinary
Okay, I'll try another
measures
question. Do we know who they work for?
Up to and including
Which departments
the
do they work for,
termination
Minister?
of employment. Go ahead.
Minister, I don't know how you don't know this. We had a very serious situation with the head of Dalian, and we want to eliminate this in the future. This information should be at the top of your mind as to who is in a conflict of interest, the value of those contracts, and what departments they're working for.
Well,
thank you very much.
If I may
President.
remind the honourable member, Mr. Chair, may I have a moment to remind the honourable member?
Let me just lay down some ground. Yes. So in this committee, I do allow witnesses to answer briefly. Ms. KUSIE, your time is up. I will hear from the minister, but it must be brief, and I'd like the answer to come from you, please.
Sure, the answer will come from me. And perhaps the honourable member is not aware, but ministers don't hire and fire members of the public service, and her questions fail to take that into account. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Turning now to Ms. Shanahan.
And gang, now we're going to watch Stephanie KUSIE put the punches to Melanie Joly, Trudeau's girl, Minister of Affairs, Foreign Affairs, Minister of blowing lines, whatever. Stephanie KUSIE puts it to her, and Canadians expect Melanie Joly to have these answers, but she doesn't. Stephanie lets her know. Let's take a peek.
Mrs. KUSIE and then Mr. Sousa to finish off.
Bonjour, Madame Ministre Melanie. You said in your opening statement today that it was in the media that you learned about the $9 million condo purchase. How is it that you didn't know about this purchase before you yourself admitting to just learning about it from the media?
Thank you, Stephanie. I'm happy to see you. I know that you come from the Diplomatic Network of Canada, being the former consul in Dallas, and I know you trust Foreign Affairs to deal with important assets in which you had the chance to work in Argentina, in Dallas. And you know that the rules are always, under my watch at least, respected, and that was the case. And so we follow Treasury Board rules as you did as when you were former consul in Dallas.
Thank you for that response, Minister, but I still find it very shocking, as I think Canadians do, that you were made aware of this purchase through the media. Minister, how did you not know that the Deputy Chief of Protocol in Global Affairs attended a Russian embassy party? How did you not know that?
So that's a fair point, and I was not happy about my team not informing me. And I think I've said what I needed to say about that. Since then, my question to you is, why would the Conservative not support Ukraine in this decisive moment in the world while Ukrainians are fighting for their freedom, but also ours? And I know as a diplomat, you would know what that means.
Well, I appreciate you bringing up Ukraine, because my next question to you, Melanie, was how did you not know that Canada accepted an invitation to send a patrol ship to Cuba while the Russian Navy was present? So I think your point about Ukraine is a very good lead-in to this question. How did you not know that?
So this is a question you should ask to the Defense Department and my dear colleague who's doing a great job, Bill Blair. And he's the minister that will see the doubling and nearly tripling of the defense budget under his watch and under our watch as government, which the Conservative cut the Defense Department's budget 5 years in a row, and that's unfortunate.
My point, Madam Minister Melanie, is that you have just indicated now 3 things that you did not know. You did not know that we had purchased a $9 million condo at a time when Canadians are suffering as a result of your government. You did not know that the Deputy Chief of Protocol for Global Affairs Canada attended a Russian embassy party. And you did not know that Canada accepted an invitation to send a patrol ship to Cuba while the Russian Navy was present, despite your comments about Ukraine. I'm very concerned about you, Minister Melanie, not knowing what is going on. And why are you so uninformed as to what goes on in your own department? Why do you not know?
So these were not the answers I gave you. So of course, Stephanie, you can't, say and use the pre-written questions you had.
Minister
but
said that you do not know.
What I can tell you, what I know is the investments in the U.S. is fundamental, which you would agree because you used to work as a diplomat in the U.S. as a trade commissioner, which I really thank you for your service to the country because I
Thank
think
you,
it was
Minister.
important.
But I maintain the position that you did not know those three things. How did you find out about the Russian invasion of Ukraine? Did you know that?
I think that not only did
How
I
did you
know
find
that,
out
but we were
about
ready.
October 7th? How were you made aware of that? Did you know that? It's
Point of
apparent.
order.
And now Melanie needs some backup, guys, so you better send in some NDP Liberal MPs.
I think, you know.
Yeah, go ahead, Ms. Blaney.
Thank you, Chair. And I'm sure the member just doesn't notice, but she is yelling. And again, I just want to bring up concern for the interpreters.
We've had this issue brought up before. If there are worries about the interpreter, they will contact the clerk to address it, so we don't need to do point of orders on those. Go ahead, Ms. Kusi. The time is yours for 1 minute, 10 seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Fortunately, it is apparent that you do know there is an election in the United States today, as you indicated that in your opening statement. But you spoke in your opening statement about how security is at a pivotal moment in the history of Canada, in the history of the world, and yet there is so much that you don't know. I'm here to tell you today, Canadians expect you to know. And if you hope to one day be the leader of the official opposition, Canadians will expect you to know, Madam Minister Melanie.
A point of order.
Mr. Chair, with my remaining
I would
time,
like to answer.
I'd like to.
Okay, sorry, sorry.
Point of order.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Mr.
point of order,
Kusi.
Mr. Chair. On that principle of needing to know, I would encourage the leader of the opposition to get his security clearance.
That's not a point of order, Mr. Kusi.
That's important.
Please, let's stick to real points of order. Go ahead, you have 30 seconds.
Thank you. And with my remaining time, Mr. Chair, I would like to move a motion given the evidence that we have received here today. And I have submitted it to the clerk in both official languages. I will now read it into the record. Thank you. Given that newly released access to information documents reveal that 2 months after the appointment of Canada's Consul General to New York, Tom Clark notified Global Affairs that the previous official residence was not suitable and expressed concerns over completing renovations. Given that this information contradicts his previous testimony before this committee on September 12, 2024, when he stated, "I had no role whatsoever in either deciding to sell the former residence or buying the new one," the committee called Tom Clark to testify for 2 hours within 21 days of this motion being adopted. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
All right, folks, what do you think of Stephanie KUSIE? I think she's great. She's one of the wildest women in the Conservative Party. I have other favorites, Michelle Ferreri, Melissa Lantsman, Shelby Cramp-Newman come to mind. We've got lots in the Conservative Party. Fun women to watch. Nobody is more on fire than Stephanie KUSIE, though. She's got such energy. She seems to really care. My name's Aaron, Canadian Loony. Like, share, subscribe, get notified, come and join one of our live shows. We're learning about Canadian federal politics, sharing that with you. That's it. Come and join one of our live chats. It's fun. Aaron, Canadian Loony. We'll catch you next video. We'll try to introduce another one of these wild firecrackers in the Conservative Party. There's a whole bunch. Till the next election, till the next video, gang. We'll catch you then. Thank you for watching this one. See you next time. Go Stephanie KUSIE. Who got rich? Everyone has an opinion about Canadian federal politics.